Okay. So back in the national team after what? Almost a year, or yeah, close to a year, right?
Precisely 11 months, yes.
Oh wow, you must have missed it.
Yeah, actually, I have. It's been a depressing few months, and you don't realize how much you've missed it until you actually get back into it. So yeah, it's been great. It's great to be back here and to see everybody again. It has been a while, I have to say.
Hmm. Okay, so what's the first thing that struck you as soon as you got back in?
First thing that struck me was that it's great. It's great that amid all the sadness and the depression that coronavirus has brought, everybody is still here. We're still here in one piece. We've not come to hear about, oh, he didn't make it, oh, we're missing him. We're all back together, spirit's the same. And that struck me. It hit me real bad because I know that a lot of people in other spheres and other sectors have suffered one loss or the other, one bad experience or the other from this COVID thing. We haven't, touch wood, we will not. And so that struck me as really good.
And you got some new threads too. Nice.
Yeah, they've decided to kit us up as well, so making us look half decent, which is good.
Hmm. I should come and get one of those. So have the boys taken the new outfit and everything?
Yeah, everybody's got everything that they need for the moment, so we're all happy on the kits basis, and you would not see us in multicolored attire when we're in training. I can assure you of that.
Okay, I think I really should come and claim some of that. So anyway, tell me about everybody's in camp now.
Yes, everybody should be in camp by now. We were waiting for Ahmed Musa and Paul Onuachu, who had one or two flight hitches, but by now I'm sure they would be here. I've not seen them myself, but I'm sure they will be here because I knew that when I came up here, they were en route.
Okay, so what's the routine? How's the routine been like? I think you guys have been there 2 days now. What's the
Well, this is our first full day. Yesterday we were coming in dips and drabs, so we haven't been able to do much. We had a gym session which was rather optional yesterday evening, but I have to say that everybody turned up and it was great. I think we've all missed it so much so that we didn't even need any goading. We just came down to the gym and we did a bit of exercise. Even I did something which is exactly a big surprise, isn't it? So if somebody like me could do, then you can imagine what the players have done. So we did. And then we got down to business this morning. Rude awakening, had to wake up and do breakfast at 8:30, not done that in 11 months. So it was a bit of a sharp, poke to your ribs that you've got to get up and be a leader and be a role model, and you can't turn up late, you can't slouch. So I did that, and we had breakfast, and we had a training session, which was quite good. It was all engaging. We did everything. And we're getting ready to go for the evening training now.
Okay. Interesting, because I know when I was Super Eagles media officer, I know breakfast was sort of optional, especially for someone like me who doesn't like waking up in the morning. So it's a bit interesting that everybody, came down for breakfast.
No, it's for the past 4 years, it's not been optional. Everybody has to come back. Ghana Troy is very solid on the team harmony and solidarity that has to come from every sector, even with regards to feeding, even with regards to what we do together. He is not by nature someone who gets into religion much, but he makes sure that we do the prayers. And everybody who is not into waking up early or eating, he makes sure that they come down and eat. And even if they don't, we have to come together. That togetherness has to form at the very least 3 times in a
Okay.
day for me, and then for trade.
That's good. Now, tell me about the new boys. I mean, I've been seeing some pictures. I've been seeing them like Tijani taking pictures with the guys, and just Chidera Ejuke is looking very happy just to be there. Same thing with Akpoguma. So, just tell me about these new boys. What's their disposition?
Very positive. They have been very well welcomed by the rest of the group.
No pranks. No pranks yet.
None yet. So we've not settled. Yeah, give it a break, man. We probably might get to it, but not at the moment. I think we're slowly integrating the group into the bigger group of us, and they're coping well. They're happy. Everyone's happy to be here. And Dessa's Ejuke, Zaidu Sanusi, they've all come and individually spoken to the coach, to myself. Thank you for the opportunity. We're happy to be here. So the atmosphere has been positive. The established boys, you can imagine young 24-year-olds becoming veterans in the team, and now welcoming them and feeling like, yeah, I mean, we've been here before you. So it's great. It's wonderful.
Mm-hmm. So tell me, when a new player comes to the team, especially when you have like 6 at the same time coming in like this, what does Gonna do? Does he sort of like get them, call them in, and just talk to them, or he just lets them find their way with the rest of the team until they get to a training session?
No, he lets them find their way in the lobby, in the restaurant. They get together. He leaves them to it. Every now and again, he will spot 1 or 2 things. You know what he's like. He'll call me and say, "Hey, do you know that I've noticed that in huddles, there's a huddle of players, of 5 or 6 players there, and they're all new players. They've got to mix and mingle." Then he goes around to the established players and says, "Get in the mix and match, because you don't want a huddle of new players in one corner and then the old players in another. It doesn't work well for team harmony." So he's very particular about that. So he makes sure from a distance, he might mention it to me, he might go himself, he might just go and tap one on the shoulder and say, "Go join them, go talk to them." So making them feel at ease is very, very important for us, and we've done that quite well in the last couple of days.
That sounds good. And then this Akpoguma, it came as a bit of a surprise to everybody. I mean, we knew he had, sort of agreed to commit to Nigeria, and then all of a sudden we see him in training camp, thinking he's only there to, get familiar with the guys. And next thing, got a ball out of the blue. FIFA had approved his switch. So I know you're the one at the heart of most of these things. So just talk me through what happened there.
Listen, I'm not going to claim credit where it's not due. I do my job, I do what is expected of me. But I have to tell you something, that like or loathing, the president of the Nigeria Football Federation, Ahmed Pinnick, played a very big part in it. I was putting pressure on him. I was saying, Gennett was putting pressure on him, saying, "We need this clearance." And he kept telling us, "Don't worry, we'll do it, because I'll speak to my friends in FIFA." And I remember sounding a note of caution and saying, "It's FIFA. You don't push FIFA. You don't go, they will take their time." But he did. He pushed them and he got it through. He can be very persistent sometimes.
Exactly.
And sometimes it works to good measure. And I have to give him all the credit for it. He did it. We've identified the player. We approached the player. I spoke to his family. I spoke to his dad. I spoke to him. He wrote the letter. We prepared the documentation. But the one who got it over the line was Pinnick. And we'll have to give that to him.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, a lot of people don't give him a lot of credit, especially because, sometimes he gets ahead of himself a bit of, sometimes, but, he is pretty effective. And like you say, he's persuasive,
he is very persuasive
when he needs to be. So, yeah, I think he deserves the credit for that.
I think the credit will come when the boy comes and proves himself as a worthy super eagle, and I believe he will.
Oh yeah,
then the credit will now come.
We've seen him play, and and it's interesting. I think I'm going to ask him this, because I hope to speak to him at some point. When he was younger, he sent a message on social media, asking to be connected with the Nigeria coach, and apparently he wasn't. He was ignored, so to speak. and then he plays for Germany on the 20s. All of a sudden, everybody wants him to play for Nigeria. So, I mean, that whole turnaround thing, did you speak to him about that?
No, I didn't tell him. I didn't talk to him about that bit because I didn't know about it. The only thing I said to him when the FIFA clearance finally came was that I forgive you now, because 5 years ago in New Zealand, I was physically there when he captained Germany to beat the Nigeria Flying Eagles in was it the quarterfinals of the
Yeah.
Under-20 World Cup, and he was captain. And I remember that, I would not forgive this guy, but then I forgave him when he decided to come to us. And so, yeah, it's all buried now.
Yeah, well, he should be the one forgiving us, so to speak, because he made the attempt to join and nobody took him seriously, and then he goes and plays for Germany, and then all of a sudden we're all over him like white on rice.
Yeah, you know how it is with us. Let's just leave that story for another day.
Let bygones be bygones. Huh?
Let bygones be bygones. Let's just enjoy what we've got now and let's make the most of it.
Mm-hmm. And let me ask you about this. How disappointed were you, even though I know you probably would have expected it, but how disappointed were you that, that Saka picked England over Nigeria, and especially on Nigeria's Independence Day, for that matter?
I wasn't disappointed at all. I wasn't disappointed, and I wish, and I'm going to use this medium because it's a very good medium to tell Nigerians not to be disappointed. Let's be happy for the guy. He was born in England. He only knows England as home. He doesn't know anywhere else as home. He only knows England as his home. Okay, so he understands his heritage, and he can never forget the Nigerian heritage, and he will never forget it. It's the same with Anthony Joshua. Joshua boxed for Great Britain in the Olympic Games in 2012. It didn't take him away from the fact that he was Nigerian. He still eats his jollof rice prepared by his mom at home. Mm-hmm. He still does till tomorrow. And tomorrow, when we're looking at Nigerian legends in the sporting industry, after he must have fought, after he must have finished his boxing, we'll call on him, and I'm sure he will listen and he will come. So it's very important for us, one, not to burn bridges with this boy because there's still a long way to go. Two, don't forget that he might still come and play for Nigeria. But I wasn't disappointed at all. I'm happy for him. I'm happy that because his hard work has been rewarded, in the area and the constituency where he is known and where he knows to be. We've not invested in him. We've not invested a single penny in his football career. So what makes us feel entitled for him to come to us? We've got to accept it. If he comes, it's a bonus. If he doesn't, we'll wait for him. He will come at some point because he remembers he is a Nigerian. He remembers that. He regards people like us. He calls us uncle, which is a Nigerian thing. Oyinbo people call elders by their name. All of them call me Tunde. He calls me uncle. He knows that he has a heritage in Nigeria, regardless of where he plays his football. So let's give him that space and respect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and hope that he goes on to become an England legend because he's got way too much talent, not to be.
Absolutely, and we will still be proud of him. If he becomes an England legend, we'll still remember that he's Nigerian born. We are proud of him. If he doesn't, and he decides, rules are changing every day. Mm-hmm. If he decides that he's played a few games for England and still wants to come and join us, let's not bridge. Let's keep the option open so that he's coming into a receptive and accommodating setup. If we troll him on social media and insult his life because he's made this choice at this time, he won't be willing to come and do anything for us anymore. Neither will his brothers, siblings, and those coming behind him.
Mm-hmm. Very, very good point. Let's come to the reason why you guys are in Austria now, Algeria and then Tunisia. I'm sure, like most of us, you still remember that loss at the AFCON. So how does that provide extra motivation for playing against Algeria?
Listen, I just came back from a pre-meeting with the head coach, Genatro, and our analyst, where we have a meeting later on, and we will be talking about our game that's coming up. And I just saw the video of our loss. Head coach keeps saying it's not revenge, it's meant to be a friendly, although Algerians don't do friendly. But as soon as that second goal came in, watching the video in the analysis room. As soon as the second goal went in against us in injury time, semi-final, I just packed my things and left the room. That's how painful it still is to me. So for me, it's a no-brainer. We've got to go into it with that full competitiveness. I'm sure with them as well, they want it. They're very arrogant. They're the champions of Africa, and they want to be the number one in Africa, even in the FIFA ranking.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and they're on a 15 or 18 game unbeaten streak so far.
They're on an 18 game unbeaten streak. But remember that before we beat them in Uyo, they were on a 17 game unbeaten streak. So it's not the first time. So, we'll see how that goes.
Okay, that's interesting. But we're missing, I mean, for some reason, it just gets worse and worse. Didi, Etebo, Osimhen, that's a lot.
It's a major loss. We've lost our main midfield. We've lost Osimhen, we've lost Didi, Etebo, and Aribo.
Exactly. Exactly. That's true. I mean, that's
our whole midfield gone. But it gives the chance to others to come and prove themselves. Because nobody should stake a claim to a permanent shirt in the Nigerian national team. We're 200 million Nigerians. There's so many footballers out there. And this is a chance for someone else to step up and at least be in the reckoning all the time. So they're football players. They know what it takes. Everybody knows what is required. We want to do well. We want to impress the coach. They want to be in the list that will be drawn for the November games. And therefore, they're going to go out there and do something.
That's and just speaking about that, there's something came up. So Osimhen was out because of the coronavirus issue with Napoli, and Paul Onuachu was called up. Now, he was not on the original list or not on the standby list, and then he gets called up from the blue. And some of the questions I've seen, or some of the head-scratching things I've seen on social media has been, what's the point of a standby list if you're going to call someone, from outside of the list to come in?
The head coach has the full prerogative, standby or not standby, as long as the guy is Nigerian, for Christ's sakes. Why should we complain about the fact that he wasn't on the standby list? Don't forget that, you see, the way the list that we draw works is that we have 2 players for each position on the pitch. 2 players for each position. We've selected Dessers and Osimhen, and then we had to have a standby list. We had our standby list, although we still had in our sights players outside of that list if they're continuing to do well for their clubs. Onuachu, we've seen how he was performing. We know that he's scoring the goals. He's in good form. His confidence will be good. No need to put him on the standby list. If there's an opening for him, we'll bring him in, because the list was drawn before his big performances, but also because we know him. We know Onuachu. We've known him. We know how he can work. And so we didn't need to put him on in one little box and package and like a gift wrap. We know that we can call on him anytime because we know him. We've decided to give Dessers that chance to come in there. We can't pick more than 2 strikers, so Dessers can come in and show what he can do because he's never been with us. But then Paul Onuachu we've known already, so there's no headache with that. We picked him, whether in or out the list, he's still Nigerian.
Okay. Oh, great. So you have 2 training sessions a day, and how's it sort of structured in terms of what you do in the morning and what you do in the evening? Are they different or are they the same?
No, they're different. They're different. The gaffer has his ideas. He's always with a notepad and his marker, and he can call you anytime. And Tunde, come. And sometimes I'm like, can I just sleep a little bit? No, please come. I need to work on this. And I'm like, okay, well, why not? So he comes up with his ideas depending on what he sees in the previous training session and how he wants to group the team and to group the players and all that. So they're different, dynamic, which is good, which makes it refreshing all the time for us.
So you are his first assistant and you're also the team scout. Just for the record, and for those who might not know, give us an idea of what your job entails. What do you really do for the team?
I look through the huge data glut. I won't call it a database anymore, because the data glut of many players that are playing their football across the world that are Nigerian, and I give my opinion, my recommendation, and pass information on to the head coach as to what players that he should be looking at, that we could be considering. And that's what I do mainly when we're not in camp. When we're not in camp, players, and I'm thinking, oh, I saw this one, he's playing in the Europa League. Can we have a look at him? If he says yes, then we go into detail. So the first thing is we pass the information, basic information, to the coach, and the head coach looks at him as well and says, okay, yeah, put him on your. We've got 3 grades in our list in my database. I've got the broad one, which is probably about 500, 600 strong in terms of player numbers. Then it narrows down to about 100 of active players that actually fit the bill, ex under 20s, ex under 17s, ones who are playing for other countries, diaspora Nigerians, as I call them, and also our elite list, the core players that we have. Then that narrows to probably 30, 35, from which we will now pick out anytime we've got a game. So I've got that process, and it's him that now tells me to drop them into the next category and the next cadre as he deems fit. And I do as I'm told. I try very hard to do
that. That point about trying very hard to do that, that's a good one. Yeah, I was going to ask you this. Kingsley Hizibwe. We saw him. In fact, we saw him on one list. All of a sudden, he's gone off the radar.
Yeah, Kingsley has some issues. He's very willing to come and join us. I'm hoping that we will eventually get him to join us. There's just a little issue with his immigration status in Holland, and once that is sorted, then he will be a part of the team, because we need someone like him. He's a right back. He's very, very quick, versatile, and very professional. So we're still working on it, and we hope, touch wood, that it will come good.
Yeah, great. And he's been joined at FC Cologne by another Nigerian, Tolu Arokodare, who was, blasting goals all over the place in Latvia, and now he's in Germany.
Absolutely, and we're looking forward to seeing what he can do in Germany. Close to home, we'll be able to see a lot more of him and see how he gets on.
Okay, so I've taken almost a lot of your time today. Hopefully we'll do this tomorrow, but one last question. What's the outlook? What sort of outcomes are we looking for in these 2 friendly games?
A positive outlook, an outlook that will make Nigerians proud that we are building a team. Some people say that we build all the time. When are we going to stop building? It's a continuous process. As long as mothers still bear children in Nigeria and boys are still coming up, it is a continuous process. And we're happy with that. We don't want a standard team that will just be there and nobody comes in to add. Otherwise, where's the incentive to other players to want to play? The only thing that gives them the incentive is to know that they have got a chance to break into the national team. So when people say, oh, why are you bringing new players in? Why don't you stick with the old? And I'm asking the question, then what will be the motivation? What would inspire the younger ones to want to play if they know that the door's shut? So the outlook is going to be positive. We're going to come up with a team that will make us proud. Results are great.
We want to win.
We want to win. Results are fantastic. My gaffer, the head coach, he's a completely different human being when he's not winning. He actually wants to win. He's got that winning drive in him and that fight. And that's what we're going to go for. But let's also be sure that we have a team that can take us to the next level. In terms of
we're Nigerians, we will go to the next level and we still want to win.
Yeah, well, we are going to be Nigerians and we're going to say we're going to try our best and give it everything, because we're not here just to look at what Austria looks like. We also want to go back with something.
And I like
we have got something to hold on to. We've got something to hold on to. The fact that we have a place in the FIFA ranking, we have a place in the African ranking, and we don't want to drop that place.
Well,
How's that?
yeah, I was actually going to raise the FIFA ranking thing, where we come from. But before that, what I wanted to ask, anyway, okay, since you brought it up, I might as well ask it. So when Gernot Rohr took over, we were 67th in Africa. And in fact, the month before he took over, we were 70th. And then we moved to 67. And now we're back in the top 30 in Africa, 29. So, I mean, I'm sure both of you must be pleased with that.
We're very proud. We're very proud of where we have come this far. We know it can get better. It could have been better. There were reasons why it wasn't. And so the fact that the Football Federation of Nigeria have deemed it appropriate for us to stay on means that we've got a chance to make it better. So hopefully, pray for us. Yeah.
So top 5 maybe?
I mean, come on. Anything is possible, okay? Anything is possible. But
top 5. We're Nigeria. We've been there before. It's not rocket science.
One step at a time. Every step that you take in life is progress. If we go from 29 to 28, it's great. And we'll see what happens afterwards.
Top 5. Anyway, before I let you go, the goalkeeping. We're having 3 completely new goalkeepers. Well, not Maduka Okoye is not completely new, but between the 3 of them, they've got 45 minutes of senior international football between them. So I know Uzor was injured and is just coming back from injury, and Akwe also suffered injury, and then I think well, I'll let you explain it because I mean, I'm just saying Ikechuke Zenwa hasn't played football for a bit, so did that sort of justify the calling up these fresh guys? And let's not forget, we also have Osigwe, who moved to Lugano, and he moved there, took up the number 1 shirt, and he's been, I mean, I've been seeing some of his highlights. He's been absolutely amazing.
Well, listen, it's a fantastic problem to have. I remember 2-3 years ago, we were having a completely different problem. The problem is what's going to happen with this goalkeeping situation. We don't have goalkeepers, basically. So now we have quite a few. We've got a few young players, a few young goalkeepers that are coming up the ranks, quite springing up from all sides of the world. And then we're thinking, where were you 2-3 years ago? So it's good, it's great, it's fantastic, it's wonderful. It means that it's a nice problem to have. It is a problem because when Francis comes back and it's okay, when they start the league in South Africa with Daniel's experience, when the league starts again in Nigeria with Ezenwa's experience, and we're thinking, okay, who we're going to drop? But it is a great problem to have. I think it's better than not having any at all. So every one of them now has to be on top of their game. And I've got the easier job of just sitting back and watching.
What kind of squirm?
Yeah, it's different from scratching our heads all the time, not knowing where the next goalkeeper is going to come from. So it's wonderful that Nigeria is producing goalkeepers now, and I think it still has to get better. It still has to get better. We still need goalkeepers so that we can actually be able to pick the very best 3 when we're going to tournaments.
Okay. So let me make you sort of squeal a little bit on your people. Which player is the prankster and which official is the prankster?
That's a difficult one. I've not seen them in 11 months. Let them settle down. They all look half sleepy at the moment, so I can't even tell you. They're all like groggy and all that. But I think everybody has his own strengths and weaknesses. We officials are very serious.
Not everybody plays pranks. Not everybody plays pranks.
We don't do pranks. We're very serious. We've got business mind, We don't want telling off. I'll tell you a little story. When we went to Seychelles in the African Cup qualifiers, we were in Seychelles, and one morning I just realized that the head coach, Gernot, was very, very, very stern-faced, and he wasn't smiling, and he was really serious. And I was like, what's wrong with this man? We still went up yesterday. He was okay. And it was like that all the way till the end of the game. We thought he woke up on the wrong side of the bed. But then after the game, he then called us, he then told me, he said, sorry I was like that. I really had to be like that because it's very easy. This place is wonderful. Seychelles is a holiday place. And it's very easy for people to get carried away and think that, oh, you know what, we're here on a holiday, because that game is not going to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard for us to know these things, and we can get carried away and just get into the holiday mode. We had a hotel which was just by the beach and all that. So he had to come in hard on everybody, including myself. And he had to be like that. And it worked. So we got serious because we were now looking, everybody was like, you better not say anything because he might get angry. And it worked. We had a good win. We won the game, we left. 2 weeks later, South Africa went to that same Seychelles. The first pictures we saw were them bare-chested, taking selfies on the beach and having fun and having the holiday feel. And they came out with nothing. They had a 0-0 draw against Seychelles. Then he called me again and said, do you see what I was saying 2 weeks ago? That's exactly where we don't want to be. So we are serious. We've got in us a leader who can be annoying sometimes, but he's great. And on that note,
yep. Tunde, I'd like to appreciate you for doing this. It's fun. We just let you guys know, Tunde and I, we're doing this catch up. I can't guarantee that it's going to be on a daily basis, but on a regular basis, just to catch up with what's going on in the Super Eagles camp and while they get ready for these friendlies. And hopefully you'll join us then. Thanks a lot, Tunde. It's been great having you here.
Thank you.